first one that I want to talk to you about, the 7c's, is called confidence. Look, sound, and smell confident, but don't be arrogant. You must look and sound confident, but don't be arrogant. Your communication starts the minute that you enter the room. That's when your communication starts. Now, let's talk about pockets a little bit. I don't know if you've ever seen people get up before you and, they have a little keychain on their belt loop, on their pant loop, and they're talking about science, but you're wondering what all those keys are for the whole time. So, or, you'll have somebody come up here and they have their cell phone in their pocket, and now the smartphones are a little bigger. So you're going, I wonder what kind of smartphone that is. So the whole time, you've got things on your pockets that become a distraction to your audience. So we must be aware that we just need to empty our pockets of things that will distract our audience, because we're trying to be great communicators. We're trying to communicate a message to help a student improve. So we must use everything that we can to our advantage. All right? Dress appropriately. 90% of the information people entail is by sight. If your clothes are too tight and look like you can hardly breathe, it becomes a distraction. I had a guest speaker come one day, and he had an orange suit. That's a distraction. And his coattails came all the way down here to his knees. That was a huge distraction. I saw him get off his car. I said, that can't be the guy. And he walked in. I said, that is the guy. We're in trouble. All I remember about his talk that day was his orange suit. So I didn't really learn anything. So the way we dress will affect the way people receive the message, whether they receive it or don't receive it. Now here's a good one. Eye contact. Eye contact is going to be the most important thing that you do. Let me give you a statement. I think Joe LaPuma is a great principal. How did that make you feel? You feel really good. But now let me tell you this. I think Joe LaPuma is a great principal. Did you see the difference? When you're communicating to your classmates, we need to understand and use a rule. The rule is this, that where you begin a sentence, you will end the sentence. Now, I was taught years ago that when I'm communicating, because I would get nervous, they would say, just look above their heads onto the wall. They'll feel like you're looking at them, but you're not really looking at them, you're looking at the wall. So the whole time I was communicating with walls. No wonder they didn't get it. Communication with eyes is the most impacting thing that you can do, because people feel that you're speaking only to them. So when you begin your sentence, that's where you will finish your sentence. That's what makes sense. It's eye contact. Smile, but be genuine. Be honest. If they drop their eyes, which sometimes students will do that, all you have to do is finish your sentence. But eye contact is the most important thing about communication. Anybody here married? You remember dating? You didn't really say much? You just looked at each other. Yeah. And someone would ask, hey, so how y'all doing? Oh, it's great. We have great communication. Just look at each other. I remember being so broke that I'd take my wife out to McDonald's and we'd split a hamburger. That was our thing. It was like $2.29 because we shared water. So we'd get water and split the hamburger in half, but we just sit there and go like that. It was great. Eye contact is the most important thing that you can do when you're communicating with your students. Look at them in the eye, where you begin your sentence, end your sentence, and then you can move on. Okay? Find your voice. But before that, let's talk about your hands. Have you ever seen people that can just really talk with their hands? I mean, they can be 30 feet away, and you know exactly what the conversation's about. You know, they're on the phone, and their hands are going like this. You think that they're an octopus. Hands are an important gesture, but when you do too much of it, it becomes distracting. For example, if I tell you a story and I say, you know, when I went there, I just pointed somewhere, so my gesture was synchronized with my sentence and with my story. Or I could say, well, when I went there, you're trying to really captivate your audience. You're trying to help your students understand what it is that you're trying to communicate. So therefore, we begin to synchronize our movements of our hands to match our story. Does that make sense? We're living in the world of students that are just into technology. And if we just sit in front of them and just cross our arms and say, you know, guys, I think that we're going to just have a great year. They're going, really? There's a 10 to 15 second rule when you come before a class or an audience. The subconscious has 10 to 15 seconds before it decides if it's going to listen to you or not. If you walk in with no confidence, unprepared, and scared, it's over before it starts. Students can be intimidating. However, they're just people, and they're just like us. So therefore, you have to be able to walk into a class and take control. Now, I want you to observe this. I'm walking up to my desk, and when I walk, this is the way I'm going to walk. Good morning, guys and girls. How did that feel? How did I look? Did I look confident? Insecure, maybe? You're going, I don't want to listen to this cat. Your subconscious is already making a decision. You have 10 to 15 seconds that will make you or break you. So you walk up, you say, hey, good morning. How are you? I'm glad that you guys are here. We're going to have a great year this year. Now they're going, whoa, what's going on? Who is this cat? You know? So it's your hands. So we also have to find our voice. I've sat down with friends, you know, at 10 o'clock at night in our home, and they'll put me to sleep because their voice is like this. You know, when some of the students go, we have to use our voice to communicate. However, we must change the tonality a little bit. We can't just stay here the whole time. You know, I'm explaining math to you, but I'm right here the whole time. And the students go, they're like, mentally, they might not be, physically might not be closing their eyes, but mentally they already shut them out. So, change the cadence of your voice. Change it just a little bit. One of the things that you can do to help you is, everybody's got smartphones, just get it home, stay home, you know, one morning and record yourself. And you're going to start seeing all the things that become distracting. I was in Washington, D.C. for 3.5 days with President Bush, Dad, and President Reagan's speechwriters. They only accept 5 people, and I got accepted. I was so scared. I showed up, there was just 4 other men there in the room, and these 2 speechwriters that have been training presidents. And as I'm sitting there, they're saying, oh, by the way, you need to write a speech, and we're going to record it today. And it needs to be 10 minutes long. I'm going, okay. So they're sitting there recording me. And they're just evaluating everything about me, my movements, the way I stood, the way I walked up, the way I looked at the camera, the way I didn't look at the camera. Did you know that there was times that President Reagan, they made him walk to the stage 30 times before he even addressed the audience. Earlier that day, he walked up 30 times because all those times he got it wrong the way he walked. And did you know that when the president addresses the nation, when he's about to give his punch, the line that's going to bring it home, he will always look straight at that one camera that looks to the rest of America. Because he already has his audience captivated here. But he's got to reach them out there. So he'll say, and to you, America, I tell you, I challenge you, and looking straight into there. And what does America do? They're going, he's speaking right at me. That's communication. That's communication, using your eyes, using your hands, using your gestures, synchronizing yourself. So I challenge you, go record yourself. And then look at yourself and say, wow, I could improve here. Use your spouse. Let them critique you. But here's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to accomplish the goal, and the goal is to be effective communicators, to be able to communicate our message of science, history, math, or whatever your subject is to students so that they can move forward in life. Because we want them to excel. So here's the truth. Women listen to the quality of voice more than the appearance. Have you ever seen, like, the ugly guy with a really cute girl? Has that ever happened? Right? Hey, it happened to me. You're like, what are you doing with him? Oh, man, he can talk. He's a talker. Why? Because women hear voice before the appearance. Men, they judge by the appearance. Vary and rate your volume of your words throughout your talks in your classroom. Be conscious of not just flatlining your voice the whole time, because it'll put people to sleep. It'll put your students to sleep. If you sit down with your spouse and she falls asleep when you're talking to her, we need to practice a little bit. Enunciate clearly. Make sure people can hear what you're saying. If you have a student that's sitting in the back, engage that student. Say, hey, Mike, what do you think about this? Because if Mike doesn't answer, he can't hear you. He hasn't heard you the whole semester. You have every reason in this confidence to be confident because you have the material. You have the understanding. You've been trained to teach them. So be prepared.